Hello everybody and welcome to Parks Bros. It's Drew here. Welcome to our first official day in Japan. With that being said, if you haven't seen our last video, make sure to watch it before this one. So, without further ado, good morning everyone. Our first real day in Tokyo was finally here. With the view from last night illuminated in daylight, we got our best view of the city yet, and even saw a handful of people fishing or enjoying the water. First things first though, breakfast. Being that we slept around 10 hours and still felt a bit discombobulated, we said hello to the unicorn in the tree and made our way to the first convenience store of the trip, Lawson. There are actually two separate locations located in the Hilton Tokyo Bay, so a quick elevator ride later and we had our first kombini food in hand. Tuna and kimchi onigiri and an egg salad sandwich were my first meal of choice. Speaking of that egg sandwich, these were so good. Like, I'd always heard things, but they were true. So good and so abundant that I had to make a ranking of the basic egg sandwiches at every kombini I went to. As of now, Lawson sits at number 1 with its pillowy bread and well-balanced egg. Time got away from us a bit as we all attempted to wake up enough to head into the city. I'm going to blame this one on jet lag, since even though we technically slept for 10 hours, it definitely wasn't consistent enough to feel awake when our alarms went off. Even though we were on the back foot, I was really excited because this is when we finally could experience the public transportation of Tokyo. Our first stop was a short walk away to the Bayside Station. This is one of 4 monorail stations around the Disney property and grants access to the Hilton, Toy Story Hotel, Sheraton, Fantasy Springs Hotel, and a handful of other properties. A quick walk across the street and we witnessed one of the most beautiful things of the trip: publicly integrated monorail-based transit. Going up the escalator and tapping our IC cards for the first time, we saw Mount Prometheus and the Hotel High Tower of Disney Sea. Before long, we hopped on the pink monorail and headed to Resort Gateway Station at the other side of the property. After a quick stop at Disney Sea Station, we made it to the front of the resort in about 6 minutes. This station is the main connection for the monorail and for Ikspiari. Realistically, it's the downtown Disney of Japan. We tapped our IC cards again on the way out and paid 300 yen, or just about $2.10, for the monorail ride. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, an IC card is a prepaid and rechargeable transit card that can be used on most trains and buses throughout major cities in Japan, and can even be used at some convenience stores and vending machines. I used it a lot on this trip, and it may have been one of my favorite ease of use items during the trip as a whole. An even cooler thing for iPhone users is that you can add it directly into your Apple Wallet and just use your phone to tap in and tap out at every train stop you travel through. It was super easy to reload it, and I could always keep track of every purchase I made with it. It's certainly a must-have in my opinion, just to save on time from buying individual tickets, especially when you have multiple transfers in between destinations. Speaking of which, just a couple hundred feet from the monorail station is JR Maihama Station, the station for the Keio train line. We tapped our phones and walked onto the train, headed for Tokyo. After about 15 minutes and 6 stops, we faced our first real hurdle: Tokyo Station. Now, I don't really have any footage of this because of how many people were around and out of concerns of being rude, but when I tell you this was my first moment of worry about the trip, I mean it. Everything was a breeze to this point, but here's a crucial thing you should know. The Keio line has its own separate station platform in comparison to every other line at the main station. It's also about 1,000 feet away. So we started our long walk into the main station assisted by multiple moving walkways, as it took about 4 or 5 minutes to get into that main area. Something I should have paid more attention to is both the ground and the ceiling, as both had clear and helpful directions visually and also in English. I was a little too concerned with being in people's way in this bustling part of the city, but our hope was to have enough time to look around a small shopping area called Character Street, featuring shops for One Piece, Studio Ghibli, the Peanuts Gang, Kirby, a Pokemon Center, and even Kamen Rider. However, we didn't realize that even though it's located in the station, it was outside the ticketed area, so we tapped out, spending 230 yen, or about $1.60. That's when we got lost in this very busy underground shopping mall. After about a half hour of searching, though, we finally found the street and made our way to the Kamen Rider store for Hunter to pick up something. After being stuck in the chaos, though, of a Saturday under the station, we made our way back to the main platforms and took our first ride on the Yamanote line, what I like to call the heart of Tokyo. This line has a lot of history, as it is one of the oldest in the city, circling most of Tokyo's famous landmarks and neighborhoods, and about 8 minutes and 4 stops later, we made it to our destination of the day, Ueno Park. The cost of this ride? 170 yen, or just about $1.20.
The next station is Ueno.
Oh no. We are late. We are really, really late. All of our transgressions from earlier had built up against us, with our first day now feeling cut entirely too short, and I was becoming more stressed by the minute. Oh my gosh, is that the Thinker? No, we have to make it to the zoo. Wow, look at these zoo, Drew, we gotta get there. Our first looks into Ueno Park were stunning. It felt very reminiscent of Balboa Park in San Diego, historical architecture with many museums, and of course the crown jewel was a zoo with pandas. So, with all that said, let's head inside. Price of admission was only 600 yen, or about $4.20, and there were hundreds, if not thousands, of species inside the zoo. Some of our first glimpses included bison, prairie dogs, gibbons, and more, but we were on a mission to see some pandas of the giant variety. Little did we know this would be another time killer. This zoo is split in two, with a twisting bridge connecting the sides over a street.
I will say the pandas are very, very separated from everything else, it seems, but this actually over here is outside the zoo itself, I believe, or it's some sort of reserve that's adjacent to it, but this is kind of unreal, especially as a first real stop on this trip. And there also seems to be some sort of transport up above. Maybe not used anymore, but still cool.
Both pandas, twins actually, had a line of their own. As for that day, they were separated. The first, which was closest to the entry walkway, had a 100-minute wait. That should have been our sign to leave our panda viewing to San Diego, but we persisted and hopped in line for Lele at only 70 minutes.
So we actually were just able to see Lele, which is one of 2 of the twins that were born back here in 2021. Now, I will say we did wait 75 minutes to see Lele, which was amazing to see her. But there was this interesting system where there was a beeper, so you had a small group, max 12 people, and then every minute there would be a beep, and you could move positions once, and then you had to leave. So it was kind of interesting. Not necessarily the most efficient thing with like the constant walking that San Diego has, but it was still really cool to see. Unfortunately, though, we've only got 45 minutes left in the zoo before they close, just because we got lost in Tokyo Station for a while, and there was a lot of just trying to get used to the schedule and jet lag.
Attempting to see as much as we could following our panda visit, we started noticing how many of the exhibits had already closed for the day. Hippos, giraffes, closed at 2. Other large mammals and crocodiles, 4 p.m. It really started to feel like we prioritized the wrong things on this day.
Now we've got about half an hour left in the zoo itself. It's cleared out a lot of the people have left, but it's understandable because most of the exhibits close at 4 or 4:30, as that one says, just like the polar bear. So we literally just missed the polar bear by like 5 minutes, but it's an amazing looking exhibit at least. But yeah, something I would highly recommend that we found out, and now we're planning a revisit in about a week and a half, is that most of the exhibits are closing pretty early in the day, some of them at even 2 p.m. So if you're coming here, make sure you know that.
At the very least, we got a taste of some of the natural beauty we were yet to see, and got to see some large birds I've never seen before, and even some harbor seals. It truly is a beautiful place, and for the price, it was well worth it. I just felt a little sad we didn't get as much time as I had hoped. We walked out of the exit promptly at 4:55 to the sound of the swan playing on repeat for the entire time we were there. Even though our zoo visit felt extremely short, we walked out being immediately graced by a torii gate. This was the entrance to one of a handful of different shrines in the park and was truly stunning to look at. Speaking of which, it being the tail end of cherry blossom season meant we were able to spend a golden hour underneath the blossoms lining the main pathway in the park. Unfortunately for us, most, if not all, the museums in the park close at 5 p.m., but a food festival was up and running until 6 p.m. in the center. We were all starving at this point and couldn't wait to dig into our first street food and even American long potatoes. We had some gyoza, dango, and meat skewers, which were all absolutely delicious. As the festival drew to a close, the lights turned on and the moon, pink and full, rose just above Skytree in the distance. The magic of the city was starting to peek through the cracks of worry I had from earlier. We even had the opportunity to walk up to castings of some of Rodin's finest works, including The Thinker, as these pieces didn't need admission into the Western Art Museum. We made our way back to the train station, retracing our steps in Tokyo Station and arriving back to Ikspiri at 8:15 p.m., just in time for fireworks. Then something else unexpected happened. We saw that the yellow monorail had been redecorated for Duffy's 20th anniversary. If you don't know what Duffy is, I'll talk about it once we get to Disney Sea, but think of it as Disney-related teddy bears. This monorail train was dressed to the nines with redone seating for every character, a really colorful wrap, and a theme song of the event playing on repeat. It's still stuck in my head to this day. A short ride and another 300 yen later, we were back at the hotel, taking advantage of its not-so-secret limited ramen service at 1,000 yen, or about $6.95 a bowl. It was a buttery and hearty ramen that was a perfect way to end the day with 7 miles of walking. So much so that I ended up passing out almost immediately after eating it, alongside my dessert of a red bean Kit Kat, which unfortunately the tastes clashed a little bit between the chocolate and the sweet red bean. But I guess I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thanks so much everyone for watching this episode of our adventures in Tokyo. There's so much more to come with visits to the Disney parks, Star Wars Celebration, and other stunning locations throughout the city, with the Disney parks actually being just another video away. So if you've been enjoying, make sure to subscribe to see all of it, and stay tuned for even some merch coming soon. Thank you all again, and until the next one, we'll see you on the next ride.